Okay, it's Sunday again. We've got another game lined up with some nice lighting going on there from the actually sunny outside. Right, so we have a 3,000 point game this time. We decided to up the ante. I decided to try out some new units that hasn't used yet, and for me to do the same. So I'm playing Orcs and Goblins. He's playing Ogres again, and it's a battle. Sorry, what was it? The battle line. That's the one. Yeah, so just the standard one. We thought we'd prefer that one just because, you know, just trying out new units and that. Anyway, so yeah, so I'll run you through the Orcs and Goblins list. We have, which is quite a lot this time, we have 5 Wolf Riders, a Goblin Rock Lobber, Goblin Spear Chucker, a Mangler Squig, 6 Squig Hoppers, 48 Night Goblins with 2 heroes in, both great weapons. As suggested by 999 Rubicon, he said I should probably try out some Savage Orcs, so I thought I'd give it a go. So I've got 38 Savage Orcs, a Savage Orc Shaman with the usual stuff that is usually associated with Savage Orcs, and a Savage Orc War Boss as well. He's got a rather large axe, I'll say no more than that. We have a Goblin Doom Diver, a level 2 Night Goblin. He's rocking Curse of the Bad Moon and Sneaky Stabbing. We've got 2 Trolls, a Squig Herd, which is a new unit I'm trying out. It took me a while to get the models together. We have 39 Black Orcs with the BSB, who's just an Orc boss. We've got another Goblin Rock Lobber. There's also a Night Goblin in there as well. He's got Itchy Nuisance and Gift of the Spider God. 2 more Goblin Spear Chuckers and an Orc Boar Chariot. And finally my Savage Orc Shaman has got all the good ones. He's basically got Fist of Gork, Hand of Gork, Foot of Gork, any body part of Gork he's got, so for his 4 spells. So I basically rolled the best 3 and just had Fist of Gork left over. So I've got a whole Gork there. So that's it. So that's Orc and Goblin deployment, and I'll hand you over to Si and have a look at what he's got.
Okay, a few less proxies this time, as I've had the models for quite a while, just not the army size to use them. Basically, I have just a unit of 3. Oh god, I can't remember what they're called now. Lead belchers. So I've not really used them before. So I can't remember what they're called. I've got 3 lead belchers here on my left flank. My Hellpit Abomination is standing in for my Stonehorn, who's currently in Detol at the moment, being stripped. So he will make an appearance next week, and he should be nicely undercoated and ready for a paint job. But until then, his rather broken little friend here is going to stand in for him. Over here we have a unit of 9 Iron Guts with command, led by level 1 Firebelly. I've had to bring in a Rat Ogre as I still haven't got around to getting my Iron Guts in yet. Problems with an order that I've eventually got a refund for. So yeah, I'm just going to have to purchase them from Games Workshop, because then at least I know I am going to get them. Then we have a Saber Tusk here in between the unit, and then behind I have a Iron Blaster, ably proxied by my Warp Lightning Cannon. I've got a nice big unit of 15 Ogre Bulls here, and led here by my General, who is a Bruiser. I've then got a BSB and a level 4 Slaughtermaster. I rolled all the nice spells for Ogre Kingdoms as well. So I got Spine Marrow, Tooth Cracker, Bull Gorger and Troll Guts. So yeah, happy days on that front. And then basically over here got another Iron Blaster, 4 Mournfang, typically equipped, basically heavy armour, Iron Fists and Dragonhide Banner. All the good stuff. Then I have another Saber Tusk hiding around the corner there. Now, over here. Unfortunately, the lighting isn't quite good enough to show. But I broke the standard that I've been painting for quite some time. That was going to go on the Ogre Balls unit that I'm doing for Malorian's Tales of Fantasy Painters on Warseer. There was much swearing when I broke that, as I was only setting it up about half an hour ago. Many bad words were said, but yeah, I should be able to repair that. It's just that they are incredibly flimsy, and I don't want to have to hack the entire arm off just to replace it. And considering I spent practically all of yesterday painting the banner, I don't particularly want to have to do that again. But yeah, got another 3 lead belchers here, which is a little bit difficult to see in the shadow. And then a final saber tusk here. It's a bit unfortunate that you can't really see my paint job here. I'll do that. I spent damn ages painting that, but red doesn't come out very well at all on film, which is rather annoying. It needs special lighting and stuff. But believe you me when I say that that's about as nicely blended as I've done with any fabric. Ugh. Just wish you guys could see it. But yeah, we will. I'll try and get some better pictures at some point. But yeah, that is my army list, and Ollie finished deployment first, so he gets +1 to his roll. And yeah, we will see you at the end of the first turn. Okay, end of Ogres turn 1. I won the roll after we rolled the same thing about 6 or 7 times, yeah. And then finally I managed to win. So my first turn, basically the lead belchers moved into the building. This saber tusk did an about turn, scarped over to there, and everyone else just basically moved forward. The iron blasters moved forward, and these lead belchers went into this building as well. I then moved kind of these guys up around here. So yeah, magic phase, I rolled a 6, 2 3s. Ollie got a channel, I didn't. However, I managed to get, with the aid of Grutsticle, Tooth Cracker on these guys, and Troll Guts on these guys. So yeah, pretty good go. Then in the shooting phase, with mixed results, these guys fired at the boar chariot and put 2 wounds on it. These guys fired at the squigs, got 12 shots off, but I didn't roll any 6s. This was like long range firing at skirmishers, so yeah, needed a 6. And then my cannons did slightly better. This guy polished off the mangler squig with a super accurate shot. It bounced straight over the squig hoppers, plonked straight onto the mangler squig.
Yeah, ice cold.
Did it 4 wounds. Happy days. So I thought, oh, result, maybe I'm finally getting the hang of it. But no, this come and bite me on the backside. And I was trying shooting through that orc unit at the Doom Diver, and naturally rolled a misfire and split the cannon down the middle. So it's still a chariot. I've not yet yielded any victory points, although I'm trying my damnedest to, without Ollie even taking a turn. So yeah, unfortunately this is now a chariot. It's not the worst chariot in the world, but it's a little bit out of position now. So I've got to rethink some tactics, as it's now kind of useless otherwise. So yeah, not a bad first turn. Not the worst I've ever had. Not the best I've ever had though. So yeah, I'll settle for that though, and it will be Orcs and Goblins turn 1 next.
Okay, it's the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 1. There was no animosity, no stupidity, and no frenzy baiting, so that was good. So I was free to take my turn as normal. Okay, so hope you can see this. The lighting's a bit ropey. Right, so we have in the movement phase, just kind of shuffle things around, including the boar chariot. Squig hoppers moved into one of the saber tusks, and that was pretty much it. And then these guys moved up a bit. Careful not to be within 8 of the saber tusks. Then in the magic phase, I attempted to cast Itchy Nuisance, but rolled double 1, so he failed to cast. And then I tried to cast Hand Gorg on the goblins to move them up, but so I dispelled it with triple 6. So that was a shame. And then in the shooting phase, fared slightly better. My Spear Chucker did a wound to the Mournfang. My Rock Lobber hit something, I can't remember what it was. Oh, he hit a Mournfang, killed one outright, which caused a panic test, but so I passed it. My other Rock Lobber hit the Stonehorn, but failed to wound it. My Doom Diver hit the Stonehorn, but failed to wound it. And the Spear Chuckers fired at the Iron Guts, and one of them actually killed 2 of them, which was pretty nice, and the other one missed. So that was really good. And also the Goblin Wolf Riders attempted to fire at the Saber Tusk, but missed him. So that was it. So it's the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 1, looking pretty good. Although it looks like my fanatics are going to be set off pretty soon, which is a bit of a shame, but well, never mind. So I'll hand you over to Si for the next turn.
Okay, end of Ogres turn 2. Lead Belchers stay where they are. Fired at the Boar Chariot, it did nothing. My Saber Tusk has sort of moved around, trying to get in at the Goblin Artillery. Everyone has just pretty much moved up. Again, this has just sort of moved forward as it's going to have to go on a sort of supporting role now. My other Lead Belchers stayed in. Basically, this Saber Tusk has moved up in an attempt to pull out the Fanatics, which he did. Ollie, having rolled piss poor pretty much his entire career using Fanatics, has all of a sudden found out how to roll high and rolled 2 11s and a 10, which was mightily impressive, as they've now kind of shot right towards my line. So basically, I had to take out the middle guy who was in between there, as I figured that was probably the most dangerous of the 3 Fanatics currently. And yeah, the remaining cannon, which is unfortunately now facing the other way, is because I shot and rolled yet another misfire. It just seems that I'm not cut out to, or not, well, it's not that I'm not cut out because I know how to use cannons perfectly well. It's just that probability doesn't allow me to use cannons. It feels that Ollie deserves artillery more. So, well, what can I say? It's a bit of a pain in the arse, but at least it didn't blow up. So the Noblar has having to remove a lot of corpses out of the barrel. So yeah, the magic phase was pretty good though. I got Troll Guts and I got Toothcracker. I tried Spine Marrow, but only had 1 dice left and rolled a 1, so it wasn't good enough. Basically, I needed a 3+ to cast it anyway. But you know, that was kind of a would-be nice scenario. So yeah, overall, not a bad turn. Not an amazingly great one, but yeah, at least I've got the Fanatics out without having to poo my pants about it. And yeah, we'll have to see what happens in Orcs and Goblins turn. Maybe the Fanatic over there will turn on that troll and do him over for me. That'd be awesome. I can only dream. We will see you at the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 2.
Okay, it's the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 2. Did my upkeep. Passed all my. Oh no, I didn't pass all my animosity. Goblins decided they were getting a bit bored and feeling very confident, as they're still their full number. Decided to go and charge the Mournfang, but luckily failed it. Might not have been so bad if they went there, but they would have went through a Fanatic as well. So, but not terrible. But yeah, so they failed it. Everything else was fine in terms of stupidity, frenzy, and animosity. Then in the magic phase, got some dice, managed to squander them, didn't get any spells off. So I dispelled 1 and I failed to cast 1, I think. It's the same guy, and he actually took a wound because it was a magic mushroom that turned out to be a bad one. So And then in the shooting phase, let's see, this rock lobber managed to blow itself up, which is nice. This one missed the saber tusk in the wood there. That's what we're counting that as. These guys fired at the saber tusk, got a few hits but no wounds. Doom diver misfired and just couldn't fire this turn. This rock lobber fired at something. I can't remember.
Fired at this.
Oh yeah, fired at them.
Scattered onto the
Mornfang and.
The strength 10 hit failed to wound.
Yeah, and the strength 3 hit actually did a wound. So
and
go figure.
Got through and killed a Mornfang.
Yeah, and got through because there was a Mornfang with just 1 wound left. There's 2 spear chuckers fired at the saber tusk over here, doing a wound each. And also, I forgot in the movement, my squig hoppers rolled a massive 15, went straight into the flank of the Mornfang. And as you can probably guess, with the random wound from the rock lobber, then they attacked and actually killed Mornfang outright. The Mornfang attacked back and lost combat by 1. Unfortunately, failed its break test twice because the BSB's nearby, and got overrun. So those Mornfang are dead because of these squig hoppers. I mean, I did throw a lot at them anyway, but the squig hoppers did.
End of the day,
we're in time for tier medals.
72 points wiped out 350.
Yeah, and
which is harsh.
And not only that, they overrun into his unit, which of course is now his turn. So he now can't charge my troll. So and he can't fire his cannons at it because that one's not a cannon; it's a chariot. That one can't fire this turn. So yeah. So yeah, Night Goblins are really kicking ass. Oh, also the boar chariot actually charged into this. I thought it was going to get shot up anyway. So I might as well try and get some impact hits out of it. Didn't roll very well, managed to get a wound to it, but they just killed me, so just fair enough. And that's it. So it's the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 2, and what's turning out to be a really bloody game already.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens in Ogres turn 3.
Okay, end of Ogres turn 3. Not so good. Basically, to have any chance in the game now, because of the way my right flank has utterly crumbled, I had to get a dual charge off with my Stonehorn and my Iron Guts. I would have liked the chariot as well, but unfortunately it was too far out of range. It was like 19 inches, and no amount of rolling dice was going to get me 19 with a maximum of a maximum was 19, and it was well out of range of that. So the chariot has just moved up. Unfortunately, the Iron Guts failed their charge. They needed a 9 to get in. Basically, I rolled. No, sorry, they needed an 8 to get in, and I got 6. So they just lurched forward 3, and then basically the Stonehorn did make it. The magic phase, I got Troll Guts off on my main ball unit, and I got Troll Guts on there, and I got a Spine Marrow on the Stonehorn, just in the off chance that I wouldn't die. But in close combat phase, unfortunately, yeah, I snuffed it. I did, however, do 10 wounds and basically killed a quarter of his Black Orc unit, which was pretty sweet. But I did unfortunately not stay there, which is a big gain, because I really needed to have got in there with the multi-charge to do enough casualties to like try and force a break test. And assuming he didn't manage to kill too many of my guys, oh well, yeah, it comes to me, I wouldn't have been able to break his steadfast anyway. Yeah, so a bit unfortunate there, because now these guys are out of position, because obviously my general wiped out the squig hoppers, but not before the squig hoppers put 3 wounds on him. I mean, there's doing well, and then there's just taking the piss. The squig hoppers took the piss and then shit on me. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a unit like that perform so well. I mean,
yeah, let's just recap what squig hoppers did. They moved over here, killed a saber tusk, moved over here, and then turned around, attacked some Mornfangs in the flank, wipe them out.
Yeah.
Then overrun into here, stopping them charging into this troll, thus delaying him a turn. And then put 3 wounds on his general before finally died.
Basically, if they'd killed my general, they would have wiped out nearly 500 points. Well, they would have actually wiped out 500 points. A sixth of the army for 72 points. I mean, that's almost getting to the point where you need to write to Jeremy Vitok and tell him that he should stop hanging around with Matt Ward. But yeah, I mean, really and truly, it's just the nature of the deployment and some good rolling on Ollie's part. I mean, he pretty much rolled about as good as he could get every time with them for their attacks and stuff.
It's the best random movement rolls I've ever got.
Yeah, and some pretty awesome close combat stuff, because they needed force to hit and force to wound, and he getting 3 wounds on that. That's pretty harsh. But yeah, there's not too much I can do about that. So yeah, it's not looking very good. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens in Orcs and Goblins turn 3.
Okay, it's the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 3, and these little tiny combats are mounting up now as size chaff has pretty much cleared off the board. Basically, I've moved the Black Orcs a little bit. Squig herd has moved around a little bit. Unfortunately, this troll failed his stupidity test and is staying where he is. So they've blocked Savage Orcs, which is a bit of a shame. Goblins just move around like that. The Wolf Riders failed their animosity and charged them with the Saber Tusk, which ended pretty well for them, as you can see. So that was pretty much it for movement. Then in the magic phase, I just cast Foot of Gork, just because I had a significant dice advantage, and stomped an Iron Gut, doing 3 wounds. Unfortunately, I didn't do the big one. And then, also the Fanatic went through my unit, did 6 wounds and managed to kill 3 Savage Orcs, just stopping short of the Shaman, who's had a chance to move out the way now, but he nearly got killed. So act of revenge there from my own Fanatics. Then in the shooting phase, the Spear Chuckers fired at the Iron Guts, managed to do another 2 wounds to them, so they're doing really well this game. The Rock Lobber shot at his Iron Blaster and killed it outright, which was lovely. First time that's ever hit, which is really good. The Doom Diver fired at the Lead Belchers in the building. I managed to do 4 wounds to them, which was nice, but they passed their panic test. And then in close combat, these guys managed to kill the Saber Tusk, because the Saber Tusk whiffed all his attacks. And then I managed to do the final wound to it, so that was pretty nice. So it's the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 3, and it's looking pretty good. So we'll see what Si's got in store for me in his turn 4.
Okay, end of Ogres turn 4. Pretty much everything had to charge on the field. The Lead Belchers just stayed inside, shot and didn't do anything. Basically, these guys tried to charge the Squigs in flank. The only possibility of potentially winning the game was to charge into the Squigs, break them, and then overrun into the Black Orcs, and then try and help the Iron Guts finish them off. Alas, it wasn't to be. They needed a 10, and they got 8. So it wasn't enough, so they just lurched forward 5, which, amusingly enough, is more than they would have done if they'd moved, but unfortunately it now sets them up for the perfect charge in response. So the Iron Guts charged in, mauled the Black Orcs pretty hard. I think I got like 15 in total. Yeah, a lot. I got like Ogre charge.
13.
Oh yeah. I got the Ogre charge, like a Firebelly's breath weapon, and then all the hits. I was very lucky actually. Ollie rolled really poorly in close combat to wound. Did 4 wounds, so I got off very, very lightly there. But yeah, it was quite pleasing. I managed to really reduce that unit down, but yeah, I've got to see how they fare next go. Basically, the Rhinox Chariot now, as it's no longer an Iron Blaster, charged into the troll, basically did a wound to it. The troll fluffed its attacks, and then chased it down and mauled it, which was nice. So yeah, basically that's pretty much the end of my go. So now it just basically sets it up for Orcs and Goblins turn 4.
Okay, it's the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 4, and wow, it just went off. We had the biggest punch up known to man, and it didn't end well for the Ogres. So in the movement phase, I pretty much charged with everything. These guys failed their animosity, charging the flank of his Ogre bus. These guys charging the front. Squig's charging the side of this guy, the Iron Guts. And just in the shooting, I just picked off a few random things. Didn't actually think I hit anything. And that was it for shooting. In the magic phase, I managed to get off Here We Go, which of course gave my Savage Orcs plus rerolls to hit, which was nice. My Goblin Shaman attempted to cast Itchy Nuisance on the big Ogre Horde, and managed to kill himself with a bad mushroom, which was nice. And then in close combat, wow. We'll start with this one. He attacked me, my Squigs attacked him, killed 3 Iron Guts outright, which was lovely. And then he attacked back, killed 3 Black Orcs, and I attacked back, forgot to assign attacks to him, and killed the other Iron Guts. There's no Iron Guts left, so he had Spine Marrow cast on him, so actually held, which is fair enough, but I mean he's pretty much done for. And then in this combat, it was just disgusting. Everything that could have, I charged in. My Savage Orc War Boss had the Battle Axe of the Last War. One-shotted his Slaughtermaster, who had the Crown of Command. Basically had 9 attacks with rerolls to hit, and strength 8 or 9, I think, maybe even strength 10. Did 5 wounds to him outright, killed him. He attacked back, managed to do a wound to my Shaman, because my Shaman got Fencer's Blades and a 5-up ward, so he managed to do 1 wound with his general. And then my Savage Orcs just went mental, had 44 attacks with rerolls to hit, did 26 wounds, and so I managed to parry 3 of them, so of course killed 8 Ogres outright, because one of them was already wounded. These guys laid into him. The normal Goblins actually did 2 wounds to an Ogre. The big bosses managed to do 3 wounds between them with their great weapons. Simon managed to kill a fair few Savage Orcs, I think he killed 8. No, he didn't, kill 5 because 3 died to a Fanatic. Managed to do a wound to my Shaman, like I said, and that was it. And I won the combat by over 30 after combat res. And of course he wasn't stubborn, so he failed his break test, and I ran him down. And that was the game. Just brutal.
Yeah, it's funny though, because basically the game was, to me, it was lost in turn 2. I really had to fight to actually not just stomp off into my room.
Yeah, I think really what changed the game drastically was the Squig Hoppers on their mad rampage. They pretty much held him. They wiped out his flank and held him up for a turn, thus delaying him and allowing me to set up even better.
Well, they essentially did 500 points worth of damage.
Yeah.
Pretty much. They pretty much got through a 1/6 of my entire army.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean,
it was blinding luck. They weren't necessarily lucky in close combat, but the ranges they rolled were huge.
Well, some of them were incredibly lucky in close combat.
Well, when you think there was 10 strength, 5 attacks in the flank of that Mournfang. So
no. The Mournfang was fair enough. I mean, on putting the.
Oh yeah, it was lucky on the general. Yeah,
that was jammy as.
So
fuck, but,
the Squig Hoppers were pivotal. They absolutely changed the face of this game.
Yeah, I mean
and bought me the time I needed to set up like the perfect charge basically. I had the Goblins in the flank, which of course netted his Ogres, making them strength 3. The Savage Orcs went in the front. War Boss obviously got a ridiculous amount of hits. And plus I got Here We Go off, which is just huge on those guys. So loving the Savage Orcs. Rubicon, you were right. Of course, I don't really think they won this game necessarily. They just dealt the death blow.
I think they were the icing on the cake because
But they're certainly brutal, especially if you get Here We Go off.
I'm not that worried about Savage. I know they're
Yeah.
they are the best thing in your list, but it pretty much they are you can deal with them. It's just I don't need.
Yeah. When a 72-point unit ruining your game.
Yeah.
The attrition rate in the first couple of turns was ridiculous, just by the squigs and stuff. You know, I did really well with those.
Yeah, and some lucky kind of bolt thrower hits.
Yeah, bolt throwers did really well. They really thinned this unit down before they got in close combat.
Yeah.
So I think everything performed pretty well. Even a rock lobber killed something, which is a first. Doom Diver didn't really do a lot. He managed to kill a couple of these guys. Wolf Riders didn't really do a lot, but they did charge us Saber Tusk, kill it. That was nice. Troll did a pretty good job of holding up the Ogre Horde.
Yeah.
Goblin Shaman did pretty well, casting Itchy Nuisance a lot. This one didn't cast anything, but he was sporting the Dispel Scroll, which I ended up using on a Troll Guts, which was fair enough. So these guys did exceptionally well, killed a great number of Iron Guts, and killed a Saber Tusk as well. The Black Orcs did reasonably well. They're not. They killed stuff, but I expected them to. But they took a lot of casualties. But they killed the Stonehorn.
To be honest, I think the Black Orcs were probably the whiffers of your army.
Yeah,
and that's saying something.
I had something like I don't know, like 20 something attacks. No, 26 attacks I think it was. No, 28 attacks. 28 attacks against the Iron Guts. Admittedly, it was toughness 5, so I was only wounding on 4s. But 28 attacks, only managed to do 4 wounds, which was horrendous. And then, of course, he got to attack back and kill like a load of my guys. Luckily, the Squigs saved the day, of all things. Squigs were awesome. They only got into that combat, but they killed 3 Iron Guts just outright, which was nice. The Fanatics, alright.
Fanatics, I think did all right.
They held terror tactics.
They held up the Mournfang, which was
yeah. They slowed them down a bit, didn't they? And they did kill 3 Savage Orcs, so I would say that he does a lot.
No, well, it was you rolling so high that got them right into their face.
Yeah, it was nice to roll high for them for once.
Straight up.
The netting from these guys is awesome. It's I think the size of Fred of that unit.
Well, funnily enough though, the netting I rolled so badly against those. But basically, even if they hadn't gone in the flank, it would have only meant I would have done 9 wounds instead of 7.
Yeah, it's just pretty tragic.
So yeah,
he was destined to lose that combat, unfortunately.
I think the way the dice went, it was just I wasn't destined to win. It was just untenable today. We got to play by Ollie. He got a bit of luck when he needed it, and he really hammered it home. And that was a damn good win. Because
I think there's only it's just that and that left on the table, isn't there?
Oh, and the lead belchers.
Oh yeah, the lead belchers. Yeah. So they wasn't tabled at least.
Yeah,
but it felt like a really solid victory, and it's mainly down to squig hoppers.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly am tending to doubt whether Ogres scale very well above 2,000.
Well, I think they do. I think they're at their optimum at 3,000. But when 72 points wipes out your flank,
but it's like
what can be that?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the lead belchers were nice. They didn't really do too much. They were useful. They got rid of a few odds and sods and like put a couple of wounds on the boar chariot and that. But at the end of the day, I think the Iron Blasters are probably were nice. I'm starting to think maybe probably maybe another Stonehorn or the other one.
Oh yeah, Thunder Tusk.
Thunder Tusk.
I like that as a support unit.
Yeah, because for example, getting into hovering next to the Savage Orcs, and all of a sudden everyone's striking last. That kind of makes.
It would definitely be good against those, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because that can then really thin out the number of attacks that. So I'm starting to think maybe a little bit more tweakage, but we'll have to see.
I think obviously, like lead belchers are for taking out chaff, and it's just unfortunate that the squig hoppers are skirmishers. So
yeah,
the squig hoppers perform so many roles in this game. It's unbelievable.
That I think squig hoppers is dirty as fuck. They are terrible because it makes them so hard to take. You've essentially got to close combat them to get rid of them, and if you close combat them, you're bad times.
It's their manoeuvrability as well that makes them so good. You know, just to turn around and then move 15 inches the other direction.
Yeah,
it kind of throws people off.
I mean, basically the way that was going on. Both times, because I figured, Ollie isn't going to get the charging at the saber tusk. He'll go towards it, but he's not going to get the charge. And then he did, and the other ran. I thought, all right, well, it's done its job. It has redirected him. Should he make it? And I thought, well, there's no way they're going to get into it that turn. But then a combination of, well, he obviously rolled really high for the fanatics, which kind of stopped them in their tracks, and then he just happened to come back and proper brutalise me with the roll massively high, and that was the end of it. By that point, I knew I'd lost. There was a scant chance, which basically revolved around me getting my ogre horde into the squigs.
Yeah.
Breaking the squigs.
But once again, itchy nuisance came into play and messed you up, I think, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you got an itchy nuisance off just when you needed it.
Yeah.
And it kind of that was the turning point, because I think if I got that, the potential to, well, first off, really, if I'd got the charge with the iron guts and the Stonehorn, I could have had a good chance if I'd rolled maybe a bit better with the breath weapon. I could have had a chance of breaking their steadfast and really kind of hammering into them and getting rid of a lot of the guys straight off. And if that had happened, then I would have been in a nice position to start working on flanks. Alas, it wasn't to be, because obviously the iron guts then working through the flank would have been good. And then, yeah, like I said, I had another very slim chance of getting into the squigs as well for a multi-charge, but yeah, that didn't pay off either. So it was kind of, there were chances, but they were incredibly slim, because getting through the squigs would have been difficult. They're immune to psychology, so they don't suffer from fear tests and stuff like that. So I would have been having to try and force a break, and they can put out, well, as you saw, they wiped out just three guys.
Yeah, they did some nasty attacks. There was just 15 attacks, 9 wounds.
Yeah, it would have been nice getting in the flank, but yeah.
Yeah, the squigs are pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So for me, obviously the man of the match is clearly the squig hoppers, and probably the turkey of the match was probably the chariot. Actually, wasn't much use. Still, I was pretty steady with it. I shouldn't have charged in like that, but I was just going to get shot up anyway, so I thought I might as well get some wounds out of it. But yeah, so I'm going to hand you over to Si, see what he thinks of his units. But certainly, squig hoppers, if you can get a hold of some, definitely take them because they're awesome.
Yeah. I mean, none of my units performed badly, to be honest. I mean, they pretty much did as expected. But it was just the situation that I was in. It was by that point I was screwed. I really think the Stonehorn did very well. It wiped out 15 guys, 15 Black Orcs straight off the bat. And that,
I think it was only 10, wasn't it?
Was it 10?
Yeah, you killed.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I killed 10 guys, and then and I think that was probably the best unit of the match for me. Maybe that and the Iron Guts going into the Black Orcs as well. Because I really felt if I'd got the charge off with them, I really would have. I really had a good chance of kind of getting through them and breaking them, I think. It was a bit unfortunate though. It's kind of just the way it is. That's kind of you have to rely on the charge, and I left it a bit too. if I'd got it a bit further forward, I might have made it. And it's that kind of thing. You've got to take the risk of it's that way up between moving them far enough forward that you can pretty much guarantee the charge without then taking the charge back. Because obviously, I suppose it doesn't make too much odds, but getting the charge in, it's kind of nice if you make your ogre charge and stuff, because then you get lots of nice impact hits and lots of nice damage, and you're not getting shot up for another round, which was really bad, because like the last couple of games, Ollie's bolt throwers really kind of whiffed, but yeah, they hit pay dirt this time, and really went through my guys. My magic phases were pretty good. I don't think I had a bad magic phase my entire game, so I can't really complain there. I mean, magic phase was great. I got all the spells off I wanted within reason. One or two did get dispelled, but yeah, I think it was just kind of I just suffered from those squig hoppers. They really did a number on me, and that was the end. I mean, yeah, I think it's just that random movement, allowing them to pivot on the spot and go anywhere they like, really is vicious. Because being able to redeploy at the drop of a hat is harsh. Couple it with a few good rolls. I mean, I've done the same with the help it. I know how much it hurts, and that was some pretty bad payback. Because it's pretty much no matter where you go, they can come at you. But yeah, I think that pretty much the squig hoppers won Ollie the game, which is pretty impressive considering they're just what most people would consider a small throwaway unit of chaff. Actually turned out to be pretty much game breaking. I mean, it was pretty crazy. But well, that's the way it goes sometimes. But yeah, it was a good game. It was good fun. Had some laughs. Like I say, I did have to fight back the desire to storm off in a huff, because that was a pretty bad mullering, and not probably my only mistake was not shooting them from the start. I think what I probably should have done was tried grape shot and use the iron blasters. I think next time they will be getting grape shotted until they're just nothing but smears across the battlefield, because they got to die. But then again, that works for Ollie, because then if I'm shooting them, I ain't shooting his good stuff. I could have done without that guy misfiring on the first turn and just becoming a cannon. Really could have done without that, because slotting stuff would have been nice. There could have been little goblin wizards that could have got slotted, and artillery pieces that would save my arse, and like I say, getting rid of those little bastards. But oh well, such is life. I'm not allowed to use cannons, because if I'd loved to use cannons, Ollie'd never win. And that'd just be harsh, so we've got to give it balance. I've got to tell myself that, because otherwise I'd never play. But yeah, so we're out at a wedding next Sunday, so we shall probably be getting a game in on the Saturday.
Oh yeah.
So we shall see you then.